What if everything you thought you knew was a carefully crafted illusion? Every headline, every viral video, every trending story. What if it was all designed to shape what you believe, what you fear, what you desire? Now picture your government diving headfirst into the mechanics of misinformation, control, and truth distortion, and even doing this to your military for public consumption. Welcome to a world where nothing is quite as it seems, and the game is bigger than you ever imagined because you are being played. Take a look at these pictures. They are depictions and examples of facial expressions we use when we express a certain emotion according to how we are feeling at that given time. The human face can produce over 10,000 different expressions, and while nonverbal communication can vary significantly across cultures, there are 7 universally recognized facial expressions of emotion: joy, sadness, surprise, fear, anger, contempt, and disgust. Regardless of race, age, or gender, all people express these 7 emotions in remarkably similar ways. Now take a good look at the facial expressions of these senior enlisted and general staff members of the United States military. Do they look happy to you? Do they look like they want to be in that room? Or do they look as if they were forced to be there and listen to things that they could have received via email, a Zoom conference call, or a phone call, or a presentation video, instead of traveling halfway around the world at taxpayers' expense in order to be there and present those facial expressions? A reasonable person looking at their facial expressions can surmise what they are thinking, and that is, we are being played. We are here to help boost someone's public persona and personal aggrandizement. And who might that person or persons be who ordered them to travel halfway around the world to attend such an event? A few days ago, the so-called U.S. Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, ordered over 800 general officers from all over the world back to the United States Marine Corps base Quantico in Virginia. For the benefits of the layman, a general staff officer are military generals from a 1-star, 07s, to 010s, which are 4-star generals. To this day, no one knows why this order was given, leading to speculation of various probable reasons. Reason 1. Assertion of authority. Some analysts say the gathering may be largely symbolic, meant to cement Secretary Hegseth's authority across the senior military general staff. Reason 2. Military restructuring or purging. Secretary Hegseth has already aggressively fired top officers and ordered cuts in general officers and senior National Guard positions. This meeting could serve as a venue to announce further personnel changes, implement leadership restructuring, or provide new directives regarding the officer corps. Reason 3. Internal pushback. The internal pushback to recent rebranding of the Department of Defense as the Department of War has been intense, and it's coming from multiple corners of the military and political establishment. Retired Colonel Larry Wilkerson warned that such symbolic gesture changes to military signage, seals, uniforms, websites, and documentation across thousands of facilities in our current economy could cost hundreds of millions of dollars, a price tag for things that we don't really need. So he's trying to delay the inevitable pushback. Reason 4. Esprit de corps. The last thing any superior officer or other commander wants is the degradation of an esprit de corps. Esprit de corps refers to the sense of unity, pride, and mutual loyalty shared by members of the military, fostering morale, cooperation, and commitment to a common goal. When a unit lacks esprit de corps, it could lead to low troop morale, which interferes with a mission's objectives. On the other hand, when a group possesses strong esprit de corps, its members demonstrate solidarity, mutual support, and dedication to the group's objectives. Maybe there's dissension in the general officer ranks that Secretary Hegseth needs to forthwith nip in the bud, which could be a major problem for the military and the country, thus the sudden meeting. Reason 5. War. Yes, war. There's a lot of talk about World War III and civil war here in America in the past few months. You would think that such talk would not happen, so as not to further exacerbate already heated tensions. But that's exactly what's happening. Countries like England, France, Germany, the US and other NATO nations are bloviating about if Russia, Iran, China, Venezuela, or North Korea react in a certain way. They will respond in kind, not realizing, or not caring, that their weapon stockpiles have mostly been depleted because they gave most of their weapons stash to Ukraine. They only have about 2 weeks' worth of ammunition left between them to hold the front line and fight, and it will take them between 3 to 5 years to completely replenish their stockpile. Meanwhile, while Europe and the US consistently put on a show of false bravado, Russia has a robust stockpile of weapons at their disposal. This is extremely dangerous, as when the West depletes their stockpile in the initial 2 weeks of a fight, they will not want to have their population look at them as a paper tiger with no bite. So they may resort to their last Hail Mary: nuclear weapons.
The North Atlantic Alliance continues to expand right up to our borders, contrary to assurances given to Soviet leaders to advance not a single inch to the east. Contrary to the commitments made by NATO members at the OSCE to respect the principles of the indivisibility of security and not to strengthen their own security at the expense of others and not to strive for dominance, we repeatedly propose that NATO capitals respect their commitments and agree on legally binding security guarantees. Our proposals in 2008 and the subsequent ones, including in December 2021, have been ignored and continue to be ignored to this day. Moreover, threats of the use of force against Russia are increasingly being made. Russia is being accused of almost planning to attack the North Atlantic Alliance and the European Union countries. President Putin has repeatedly debunked these provocations. Russia has never had and does not have any such intentions. However, any aggression against my country will be met with a decisive response. There should be no doubt about this among those in NATO and the EU who not only are telling their voters that war with Russia is inevitable and are forcing them to tighten their belts, but are also openly talking about preparations for an attack on our Kaliningrad Oblast and other Russian territories. We have some hopes for the continuation of the Russian-American dialogue, especially after the summit in Alaska.
If I may be so bold as to remind you that the United States is an empire with bases all over the world, which, like empires of old, stretched them too thin to be any significant fighting force. If an international war were to break out, the US and NATO populations, who are economically suffering, will not take it lightly that they have to tighten their belts while their tax dollars and services go overseas. Write in the comment section whether you believe that we are on the brink of a world war, or if all this talk of a world war is just nothing but bluff and scaremongering from the powers that be. For some unknown reason, it appears that the US government wants to pick a fight with Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, Venezuela, and Mexico, thinking that they will defeat these nations, but not being able to comprehend or take into consideration that while they are preoccupied with one of these nations, the others might take advantage of the situation and secure their victories in their respective regions. Or, if we target one of these nations, the others will join and overwhelm us, leading to the collapse of yet another empire. And as much as they would like to help, Europe stands at a precarious crossroads, facing profound geopolitical, economic, and internal challenges that threaten the stability of the entire region. They're already in hot water with their citizens. A crashed economy and total collapse will end their prestige amongst nations as we know it. So for all intents and purposes, America might be on her own. So, just like what those 800 senior enlisted advisors and general staff were probably asking themselves as they sat there, are you being played? Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.